Hello, and thank you for joining us for our third and final part of our workflow video series. In this video, we're going to cover workflow logic and how it allows you to route your form based on how the form is filled out and completed. Using our previous example, let's say you have a workflow for employee reviews, and if the employee is granted a pay raise by their manager, the form needs to go to the HR team for approval. Now, if the employee is not granted a pay raise, the form can skip the HR approval process, all using workflow logic. We've already gone ahead and added a field that determines whether or not this employee will be eligible for a raise, as well as the HR step that we will be using in this example. To add logic to your workflow form, you will first need to navigate to the workflow editor. As a refresher, you can get to the workflow editor by clicking on the workflow tab in the upper left-hand corner of the builder on the workflow form. When in the workflow editor, select the step of the form where you want to add workflow logic. Logic will run after this step of the workflow is completed. For this example, we're going to select step 2. Once you've selected a step, you can select the logic tab to see your options. Clicking on the Add Step Logic Rule option will allow you to choose the field you'd like to configure. In order to use this feature, you must be using the radio, checkbox, dropdown, number, date time, or event product fields. You would then select the rule the logic should be based on, and finally select the future step you want the form to route to if this rule is met. You can also select if you want this form to be marked as completed if the fields meet the rule you have set. For this example, we've set up logic to only go to our third HR step if this employee qualifies for a raise. We're also going to set up an additional step to complete the workflow if the employee does not qualify for a raise. After we finish setting up our logic, we can click on the Save Settings button on the top right corner. Another important setting that can be found under the Logic tab is the ability to send a step back to the previous step. This option can only be enabled if the form is being sent back to any other step besides step 1. This will give the participant who is completing this step the ability to route the form back to the previous participant. In this example, we've navigated to the Logic tab of our third step, and we've enabled the ability to send it back. A few things worth mentioning about sending a step back. When a participant has the ability to send a form back to the previous participant, they will see a link at the bottom of their step of the workflow form. If the user wants to send the form to a previous user, they can select this link and will have the ability to enter in a comment on why they are sending the form back to them. In addition to this, when a form is sent back to a previous participant, the participant will then receive an assignment email that contains the comments from the participant who initiated sending the form backwards. Once the previous participant has updated their submission, the workflow process will then be routed forward. That's it for our video on workflow logic. Thank you for checking out our 3-part series on workflows, and please remember, for more information, you can always click on the eye icon on the top right corner here and either search for an article or get directly in contact with our support team. Thank you for watching.